Hi, I am Gunjan and I'll be conducting the training today and tomorrow. Today I'll be going through all the theoretical part of this topic, business workflow. Okay. Uh, does anyone? I mean, I hope everybody is at least 3 years experience in ABAP. So it'll be easier for you to understand the concepts and also easier for you to work on these. Uh, You can talk if you need to unmute yourself, you could go ahead and give me a feedback. Okay, could someone help me explain what a workflow is? I mean, are you aware of what workflows are? Anyone? You could unmute yourself and if you want to talk, you could go ahead. Is anyone, does anyone want to say something? No. You could unmute. Ankit, if you want to speak, you could unmute yourself. We are not able to unmute. That's strange. Okay, wait. Okay, I'll have to do that myself. Uh, I'll have to unmute. Do I need to unmute you? Each one of you. So, yeah, Ankit, maybe you could elaborate more. I have unmuted you, Ankit. Nope. This will become a problem then. Uh, I'll try to unmute the others also because I can see my. I mean, no. Anyone? Could you try? I'm just trying to unmute all of you. Yeah, I can hear someone talk.
Yeah, I believe once you unmute anyone, the person will get the pop-up, and then we need to unmute from our end as well.
Right.
Then
Okay.
only
I'll
we'll be
see.
able to speak.
I'll unmute everyone here so that if anyone wants to comment on something or ask a question, because I won't be able to keep looking at this window all the time. Okay. So I'll just unmute everyone. So then you could, and then you can go on mute yourself. Right? So let's start with the presentation now.
But Gunjan, Rakesh here,
Yeah.
even if you are unmuting us for this moment, but suppose we are muting ourselves again, but then you have to do it that thing for us again. So it's like,
Okay.
I mean, we can't go on mute again. We have to stay
Yeah,
on mute.
No, but then that
yeah,
might
that's right.
create
Yeah.
noise. So it's not
So
advised.
there will be a lot of noises and
Yes.
disturbances.
So it's okay.
So
Maybe
I
you could
think,
just, yeah.
yeah,
I'll check this conversation then. I'll keep looking at this conversation.
Okay,
Can I
that
just
will be
hide
better.
this
Yeah.
piece of, I'll put it like this somewhere. Yeah. So if I need to just go through everything, I can go like this, go through it like this. Yeah, fine. Yeah, let's start. We getting late. Okay. Yeah. SAP Business Workflow. Right. It's all about process. What is a process? Anything can be a process, right? Any small thing, like you wake up in the morning and do certain activities becomes a process. So similarly, when it comes to an organization specifically, uh, uh, there are processes, there are people, there is data, there's information, right? So when all of these things come together, we have something we need something called as the SAP business workflow. Okay, uh, it's a cross-application tool, and it makes it possible to integrate business tasks, processes between applications. Okay, uh, for that we have various tools. I mean, along with the workflow builder, we have other tools that we need to use. Uh, so why do we need a workflow? See, suppose there's this person who's raised a requisition for to purchase something, and he doesn't know what needs to be done. So he keeps wondering. He'll send it to some higher authority, and the approver, I mean the higher authority may or may not know that he's the one who's supposed to take action. You know, that kind of a things, and it goes on in a loop. So there are a lot of disadvantages of manually doing all these things in a business scenario. Okay, a lot of time is lost. That's why we say, as we all say, that time is money. So eventually, if we lose time, we lose money. So the drawbacks being, one, it is inefficient. Okay, there's no way you can trace. Okay, I don't know where my particular business requisition, who is having that particular piece of paper, or who's executing it, or who's executed it. And then, you know, in all that process, a lot of time is lost. So so why do we go for business workflow? Workflow ensures that the right work is sent to the right person at the right time, in the right sequence, with the right information, whatever is required. Okay, this is the purchase order I have created. These are the items I want. These are the costs involved, and it has to go to I have created it. It goes to my immediate manager, whoever is supposed to approve it. This person would know that I have created it, and he would know that he has to approve it within this particular time. Okay, so a proper sequence is followed when you're doing this. It's a tool for automation of business processes. This is quite self-explanatory. I mean, you have processes, and you will be automizing it. Okay, not tied up to any particular application. Yes, it's not tied up to any particular application, operates uniformly across applications, coordinates all participating tasks, and provides users with active support. Basically, it's intelligent routing of your business process. Nobody can hear me, or is it just him who's not able to hear? Okay. Okay, great. So maybe you've got some issue with your audio. Could you just check? Okay. So next thing that we'll be discussing is the basic architecture of a workflow. Okay, as you all are aware that there are people involved, there's data involved. So like when it comes to people, there are different organization levels, right? Who is executing the process step? So suppose I am just the accountant who's creating an invoice. It has to go to my manager for first approval. If the amount is more than certain limit, it has to be sent to the second approval, which is his manager. So that way, so the first aspect that comes into picture is the organization. Okay, then of course there is the process. Okay, process, which step does the process contain? So this is at this particular point the workflow comes into picture, because the workflow is the one which is actually will be designing your entire process. Basically, if you can just think of a particular flow chart, when we look at a flow chart, we know, okay, these are the steps, these are the decisions that are taken during this when executing a particular step. and so on. So the next level that comes into picture is the process level. And for all this, what we need is certain coding that is required, where the business object comes into picture, which will have all your data, which will have the methods, the attributes, everything that will all go in the business object level. Okay, and then of course there's this most important thing, what started it. So like suppose I created a PO, so that is something that is going to trigger the workflow. I apply for leave, it triggers the, it has to trigger a workflow, so that is the triggering point. So that is where the different applications will come into picture. Okay. Okay. Well, what is, if you were to look at the workflow definition, it consists of basic data, the information about triggering events, initial values, containers, and bindings. We'll be seeing more about these aspects as we go further. Okay, so now if we go to workflow definition, how do we start developing a workflow? First thing I would suggest is you first sit and work it out on a piece of paper, that these are the steps that you're going to follow. Technically, how you're going to do it is the transaction SWDD. Okay, this is how the editor would look like. I'll just log into the actual SAP editor so that you could also see that. This is the actual editor, but I'll okay, fine, I'll show you this one itself. So you have the information area here, the navigation area, the workflow container. Then there are this area for result for syntax check. This is where you'll actually be putting in your steps. This is like the overview kind of a thing, and this is where you can see the actual graphical model of what you have developed. Okay, so more about it. I mean, a workflow is made up of individual modular steps. Okay, it cannot be just one step doing everything, right? So there will be decisions, there will be optional options that you want to do this, you want to do that. Like for example, like for steps for business activity would be tasks, user decisions, document for template, web activity. When it comes to internal process control, there'll be things like condition, multiple conditions, something that will create event. Suppose from one workflow you want to trigger another workflow. A wait for event kind of an option, where you waiting, okay, that the workflow is at this particular step and we are waiting for this event to occur, and so that it can go processing further. Then there is container operation. Of course, containers are, we'll come to the what containers are in the later slides. Then there is loop and there are forks. So if you were to see here, if I was to say create, okay, it won't let me create here. This is an existing, okay. You can see all these options. Now I have gone to this navigation area where you have all these steps. This is an existing workflow. I could not find any suitable and I did not have time to create an SAP CC. But tomorrow we'll be creating our own workflow and that will be available with you for reference. Okay, so if you were to see, these are the different steps that we can perform. Okay, there is activity, web activity, send mail, form, user decision, document from template, condition, multiple conditions. We'll be seeing what all these are. I mean, I'm just showing you where you can see this option. Okay, once that is done, we'll go to the next slide. Instead of, yeah, see, if you were to see this, there is some event that is triggered. What is an event? Something that has happened. For example, for certain workflow, it is for example, is the leave application workflows. For that, what will be the triggering event? A leave was applied for. Okay, if we'll just stick to the leave application for example for easy understanding right now. notification of absence was created. Okay, so once this someone, you go to your application and click on that leave applied. Okay, next it will go to the person uh, who's supposed to approve that particular leave. Okay, so this approve notification of absence, so this particular step will go to the manager who is supposed to approve it. So he can either approve it or reject it. Okay, so this is like a user decision that he'll be taking. He wants to approve it, it will follow this path. He doesn't want to approve it, it will follow this path. Okay, once he approves it, then something should happen. That is this particular person should be informed that your leave has been approved. So this is the submit I mean send mail thing. So this will inform the particular user that his leave was rejected, and if he wants to revise it or absolutely cancel it. So this is the piece of flow. It will go here, it will check if it was resubmitted or if it was completed. So here, this, if it is resubmitted, it will go back and then it will come to this approve notification of absence. That means this person revised his leave and then it came back to this this particular manager for reapproval. Again, it can follow the same process. That if looking at this particular thing is called the loop. It will loop it back to the first manager again, and then based on this decision, if it was not submitted, it will go ahead and terminate the workflow and end the workflow. Okay, any questions so far? No questions? Okay, if anyone's got yes, no, you can type it out if you want. Oh, okay, fine. How are workflows created in the system? Okay, you log in, go to SWDD, you can see this screen. Okay, wait, we'll go to this. I hope everybody's got access to this particular system for training. Yes. Citrix might take a minute. Okay, in case anyone's not got access to the portal, because that is where I'll need to check your workflow assignments. I have already mailed you the assignment in the along with the meeting request. Okay, so right here we come. So this is someone's tried to do something. So if you can see, this is like an 8-digit number with a prefix of WS. Okay, every workflow you click create a new workflow and it will auto generate, because this is some part of configuration. Based on these characters, you will be able to know that if it's a custom workflow or a existing workflow. Okay, by the way, I mean, while we are at it, I'll just explain this to you that there are existing workflows in every system. Uh, Based on our requirement, we need to first search for the workflow. If we don't find the suitable workflow, only then we should go for customization. Okay. Uh, Within workflow template, there is a key with the following structure: WS structure abbreviation for the workflow template and 8-digit sequence number. From the structure of the 8-digit number, the system knows whether the template is a standard template delivered by SAP or one created by the customer. Okay, customer defined templates start with a prefix number that is defined in the customizing for the system and client. Okay. Next thing that we will see here is, we'll just see. So does the SAP workflow already exist in the standard system? Yes, then use it. Else create it, implement it, and then use the workflow. Okay, that is how we go about with it. When you design the workflow, what you need to look into is, first you design the process, define who is responsible to do which scenario. Okay, that is very important to understand who is responsible to do what part of the process. Okay. Based on that, you will have to define different tasks. Suppose my job is just to create certain leave application. After that, my manager is supposed to approve it, so that his responsibility is to approve it. Then there would be someone who would just monitor it, or for information, so his responsibility is just to monitor. He does not have any other response. He cannot approve or disapprove it. So the like this, every person's responsibility in that workflow need to be defined properly, and then based on that, the objects need to be defined. Objects is the same concept like object and attributes, methods, everything. And of course, based on how you've designed it, you'll have which function. I mean, we'll just go through this. First, we design the organization plan. Oops. Based on that, we have the actual application that is triggering the event. So once that is done, what is the next tasks that are supposed to be performed, who is supposed to perform them. Underlying all this process is the object, and all this is going to help you design your workflow. Okay. Again, this is the same thing explained once again. I mean, this is how it will look at the definition time, and this is how it will actually go when the workflow is triggered at runtime. Okay. First, you go to uh, suppose we are defining it. You check this workflow, you create the workflow is defined, tasks are defined. Then again, it's the same thing, I'm repeating myself. So workflow, task, object. Why I'm repeating it is basically because these are the things which you'll be using eventually, and you need not get confused about it. Okay. So far, okay. Where is this? Oh. Yes. Okay. You can look for your workflows in SPRO also. There you from for your application relevant work, you can find your application relevant workflows based on like we'll take that up tomorrow maybe. How to look for your workflow, because I'll just write it down that you want to discuss, you want to see this, so that tomorrow we can take that up. I need to complete the theoretical part today. Okay. So This is just about triggering the workflow. So we'll just go to the workflow steps, the different workflow steps that are required. As you saw, this is the steps, right? It can be anything. It can be a single activity. It can be a condition, a loop, a fork. All these comprise of steps. Okay. Workflow definition is made up of individual steps. When creating a step in a workflow definition, the step type must be specified first. There are steps which refer to business activities and user decisions. We just saw that sometime back, that slide before. Steps which are used for internal process control. Okay, like conditions, multiple conditions, loops, etc. Okay, now each step, we'll just go to each step. Let's see, I'll just go to this workflow. That's where we'll be able to. Okay, so this is the basic activity step. Okay, if I was to click on it, you can see these are the different options that you have available. This is the first thing, control. Control, inside every step you'll have, every step related to activity, you will have certain tasks assigned to it. Okay, along with this task you will have these task properties which say agent assignment. Now we'll come to that part, who's the agent. Okay, agent is someone who will be actually performing this task. Okay, now for this particular task, this is a background processing, so you need not have any particular agent for it. Okay, we'll come to that part as we go further. So there are different activities. This is the first one. Then there is the user decision, which provides an opportunity for the user interaction with the system. The response to this decides the selection of the subsequent steps. So for example, yeah, this is the user decision. So if you were to see, yeah, we have two options provided, either approve the invoice or reject the invoice. Any queries? Yes, we'll come to that as well. Task numbering, I'll show you how that is done. Actually, it's usually one-time activity. We don't do that every now and then. Okay. So right, we were at the user decision. If you were to see, this is how the user decision appears. This is how its symbol is, the question mark and activity. Based on this, it can either follow this path or this path. So if you were to see this, based response to this decides the selection of the subsequent steps. Okay, so based on your decision, it will go ahead. It will go here or it will go here. So like this is the approved one and this is the rejected path. Okay, so next we have is document from template. I cannot show you an example right now. Then there is web activity. It's even I don't right now have any particular workflow which has got this particular option, but you can see it here. From here you can see that you can see that option from this thing. You have the web activity here, document from template. So I cannot go in modifying it. We can see it. We'll probably try to see how we can use it, if we can use it in tomorrow's example. There is condition based on the the branch on the basis of control information from the runtime dependent context of the workflow. An attribute of this object can also be accessed for condition evaluation. Condition evaluation can be done by field comparison. Example, constant, object, attribute, system fields. Okay, I'll just show you what a condition would look like. Yeah, here. Check portal response. So it's like if you were to see inside, we have this particular attribute which is a runtime parameter which we are receiving during execution. If that the value to it is a, then it will follow this particular path, approve. If it is the other one, I think it's, if it's not a, then it will go to this path. Okay. Then similarly, multiple condition, along with single condition, we can add multiple conditions there. Okay. Until loop, we just saw the loop part, where if you want to repeat a particular step, for example, you can see here, this is the loop. Now basically, if I'll just explain what this particular workflow does, it is trying to get certain option. Either an invoice has been created and it is waiting for, you can either trigger the event from the portal site, or you can actually log into SAP, display the item, and provide the user decision from SAP side also. Okay. And then based on that, there are these user decisions. So in case the first approval is done, this will go back to here, because these are the steps that need to be repeated again for the second approval. So we have just looped it. If you were to look at loop, there's not much condition here. You can add more complex conditions also here. If you were to double click on it, you have these options where you can actually go and add more conditions, and these are the parameters which are available within the workflow to that you can use to define your condition to either end a loop. So if this loop will terminate when workflow complete becomes X, so that is the terminating condition for this loop. Okay. And yeah, so once if it receives that WF complete is X, it will terminate, and it will terminate the workflow. Otherwise, it will keep going, it will keep looping itself every n number of times. Okay, next is, yeah, fork. Now you want parallel processing branches. For example, we've used a fork here. Now, as I mentioned, there is this option when it comes to this fork, this particular workflow is waiting either for the event to be triggered from the portal site, or the user can go to SAP login and approve it from there. So now but at the same time, both of them cannot be executed. Okay, if one is executed, the other one will automatically be cancelled. Okay. So that was fork. Send email, you can provide the details, and text entered in the step can be used to send an email to the agent assigned. You can send the email to whoever you want to, based on whatever text is entered in this step. So I don't have any particular example, this thing to show you here. Maybe we'll try to use this in tomorrow's example. Container operations, of course, container operation is like you want to set a particular parameter, that okay, this has to be set for this value. So this is like a container operation. So this step name, these are the different options that are available here. Just a minute. Yeah. Okay, so that was container operations. Basically, you can, we'll discuss what a container is. So once you understand what a container is, we can directly, if you want to set certain value based on your condition, or you want to reset a value, or anything, you can use this particular operation. So if you were to see this particular thing, we are setting this WF fork to X. Okay, now WF fork is present here. This is a part of the containers, the different elements that are present in the container. Okay, so if you can see this is the parameter that we'll be setting using the container operation. Okay, then event creator. if you, from your existing workflow, if you want to create a particular event, that is if you want to trigger another workflow, so you can use it. So event creator, an event creator is created when this step in the workflow is reached. Other workflow can be started as a reaction to the event created in this step. This event must be the triggering event of the relevant workflow tasks or templates. Okay. Now next is the wait for event. Now if I have used it here, so I can show you. So in this particular event, it is waiting for a particular event to be triggered. In this case, it is from the portal. In any, I mean, you can have another application triggering it. So it'll in as a response. I mean, it is waiting for this particular event to be triggered. It is the how it is used to stop the whole execution of the workflow until the event is created in the system, used to wait for events for parallel processing. Okay, so as I showed you, parallel processing, something like this. Now it can either be this thing that is happening or this part that it will follow. For that you'll need to use a fork. So it's all linked. I mean, it'll all be based on how you have designed your workflow. Okay. Any questions here? Okay, parallel processing. Just a minute. I think you need to understand parallel processing. Okay, parallel processing may in this. Let's see a scenario where you can have 2 or 3 options that can be executed. Okay, suppose you have let's say you have a purchase order and certain details are missing from it, and but you know it can either be, no wait, I'm not very comfortable with this example. I'll give you another one. Okay, parallel processing would come in a scenario. Let's look at this one, this particular example. If you were to see, there are 2 options. As I mentioned, this particular step can either be processed from the portal side, which is this part of the workflow, or it can be processed. Wait, I'll just explain. This part will be executed from the portal side, and this part can be executed from the SAP side. Okay, so now it can either be that someone will approve it from the portal, or he'll, if the portal is down, they wanted an option to have it available from the SAP side as well. So at this time, you can have either this particular loop will be, this particular path will be followed, or only this particular path will be followed. There can be multiple levels as well. Like you don't want it to be either of them. You want it to be another third party to be executing it. Or you could also have a trigger which will actually cancel this whole processing. That can also be added to the fork. Am I explaining this to you correctly? I mean, are you getting it? Preeti? So as I mentioned, at a single point, I mean, now that you have either this option or this option, both options won't be executed at the same time. If the user logs into into SAP and executes it, then this path will be followed and this path will be cancelled automatically. So this, it won't happen that I am executing it from the SAP side and the person is also able to use it. As soon as I select this path, this particular path will start following, and this particular path will get cancelled. Okay. Okay, now let's go to the next part. We have tasks. Okay. Now, what are tasks? Tasks are used to describe a business process. Now, there are single step tasks, which are again standard, custom, and workflow templates and workflow tasks. Okay. Uh, I'll just show you how a task looks like. Right. So this is what a task. Similarly, I mean, similar to WS, which stands for workflow, TS is for task. Okay. And again, it is followed by this 8-digit number. So this is what a standard task looks like. Standard task can be either created, can be custom created, or it can be a standard one which is already existing. Okay, so like if you were to see the similarities and differences in the different types of tasks, customer task, workflow task are created by the customer, of course. It has with a validity period. They are client dependent and must be linked to its possible agents when it is defined. Okay. I mean, of course, every task has to have an agent, except for the background ones, because for background it need not have an agent for background ones. We just saw. Yes, kind of a case statement. Yes. Okay. Customer tasks. The T code for creating task is PFTC. Okay. Single step reference to one object type method and displays one step in the business process. Multi-step. A multi-step task can actually be an entire workflow. Okay. Represents a business process. Like for example, single step is just one object method, like one piece of activity that needs to be done, and multi-step would be actually a entire business process that has been built together and used as a multi-step task. Okay. So this is what a a standard tasks look like. It'll have its own. I mean, here you'll have to assign the business object to it. There are these different options here, like description, container. Again, we have come to container. We'll be seeing what container is shortly. Okay. Okay. Now, single step task describe elementary business activities. Yes, activity like some. You want to add some particular check to the code. Okay, now for example, now this particular task, it is to post the document. So that is an activity that we need to do. So posting the document is a single activity. So that has been used as a single step task here. Then single step task operate on an object and refer to one object method each. Okay, we just saw that. This is the object and this is the method. It is a single method that we are using. Multi-step okay. Single step tasks are linked to their possible and permitted agents. Those organization assignments are described in the organization plan of the enterprise. Now, agents are the ones who will be actually performing the task. So if you were to see this one, this is again a background task, so we cannot see any agent for this. Now if you were to see this display item, now this particular thing, you are actually displaying the particular invoice to someone. Now who is this someone who needs to see this invoice? Okay, this is the someone who's actually supposed to look at the invoice and approve it in this particular scenario. So we have, you were seeing before that the earlier tasks that I showed to you had only background processing to it, so there was no agent assignment. But this particular one is not a background process. It has to happen. I mean, someone has to look into it and take an action. So this is the uh, particular task that we have created with agent assignment. So agent is actually the one who is going to perform this activity. Now agent assignment can happen in, I mean, who can be an agent? Any particular role. For this you need to have a good organization structure already defined. You can have a role, you can have rule. Rule is something, I'll show you what a rule is. Then organization unit, job, position, work center, a particular user. You just want some particular user, you can add that username here and send it. I mean, every time this particular workflow is executed, it has to be this particular user itself. Or you can have an expression. Expression is like, it's like a parameter that you're sending, so it can be just one person at a time. It will go to that one person at a time. It can be the workflow initiator, the one who's initiating, and superior of workflow initiator. I shouldn't be doing this. Okay, so now what is a rule? Rule is like, suppose there is, I mean, it's quite complex that a lot of people are involved, and like you need to do some calculation and computing as to who is going to perform this role, and you need to send it to a distribution list maybe. So you can also create distribution lists, and you can define your own distribution list, add people to that distribution list, and send it accordingly. So this particular rule is basically another object that you create, and it will have a particular function module attached to it. Now this function module will actually do the computing part of it. Okay, this is, I mean, based on this you will be able to determine who is the person or who are the people who will be receiving this particular object to take an action on. Okay. Single step tasks are linked to all their possible and permitted agents. Those organizational assignments are described in the organization plan of the enterprise. And then executable single step tasks are represented by work items at runtime. Okay, so executable single step task will become a particular work item. Now you'll have to see what a work item is. We will come to that. I hope this is not confusing you, because they get a little I mean, once you understand the terms and start remembering them, it'll get easier. So maybe at times I'm just repeating myself. Then again comes to let's come to multi-step task. Workflow definition has a modular structure consisting of individual steps which are linked together. As I mentioned, another workflow can also be a multi-step task. Okay, the multi-step task form the business framework for a workflow definition and each reference of one workflow condition. A step in the workflow definition can be an activity, and an activity always refers to one task, single step task or multi-step task. I mean, it's like this one doesn't have maybe if I can find a particular example of how a multi-step task looks like, I'll show it to you. Okay, and then an activity with one simple triangle refers to as task, and three triangles refers to workflow. Okay, or a sub workflow. I mean, basically you can call within your own workflow, you can call a sub workflow which will perform certain activities and come back and give particular result to the calling workflow. Okay, next Of course, they are synchronous and asynchronous methods. Okay. Uh, for asynchronous method, what a terminating event is required, and for synchronous one, it need not have a terminating event. Okay. Basically, because it's an asynchronous method, I mean, how would you know when what should happen next, right? So that way you need to define a terminating event for asynchronous methods. And synchronous, of course, you'll be in a flow, so that would not be required. If we were to see this. Mm-mm-mm. Yeah, no, I don't have any asynchronous ones in this one. Maybe I'll try to find an example of a synchronous method for you. Okay, then again, this is again the same thing. Now, what are the things that are required in a task? Now, uh, when it comes to a task, there's certain steps that are to be executed, and there is going to be a person who is going to be responsible to execute that task. Uh, I'll just show you what this particular slide refers to. Now this is the task. We click it. Now this is the task text. Then there are these other now this is kind of an irrelevant slide here. We'll just skip this slide because I thought this was basically it's explaining all these different options for the workflow task. Like there is this description, uh, container. Again, container are the interface parameters that you will be requiring. Triggering event, what can trigger this task. Terminating event, of course, what should terminate this task. There are certain default rules for the agents, and then there is SAP phone. Okay, I have not ever used this option, so I am not very sure of how it is working, but from what I understand, that it is supposed to uh, workflow dials the telephone number attached to the current customer. Never tried this. Task execute. Now there are, of course, I mentioned this already, that we have background tasks, and for asynchronous ones, you need to have the terminating event. Uh, okay, yeah. Then along with this, every task is supposed to have, when you do an agent assignment, like who's supposed to be the agent here. Okay. Uh, when you do agent assignment, a particular task, if it is general, work items can be executed and forwarded to any SAP user. Okay. Uh, so these are the attributes that are associated with agent assignment. General task, it can be forwarded and processed by executed by any SAP user. General forwarding allowed. Okay. General forwarding allowed. Work items can be forwarded to any user. General forwarding not allowed. Work item can be forwarded to only possible users. Okay. Forwarding not allowed. Not allowed to forward it. So these are the different options that you can use, and based on how you will be using this task. We usually use general task because it can be possible that you I mean, if you were to look across the organization, it might be possible that you need to use this task for various. I mean, any user should be able to perform it. But then there are times when you need to have restrictions, that it cannot be forwarded to everyone. It should be forwarded to only certain set of people which are already defined as possible agents. Okay. Uh, After that, so So what is a work item? Okay, tasks when they are converted to on runtime, they are called, we can look at them as work items. Okay, they are executable single star tasks are represented by work items at runtime. Object that represent a task or action in the workflow system at runtime. Depending on the work item type, some of these work items are displayed in a user's work list. Okay, uh, have you all seen this SO01? It'll take a little while for mine to load. I'll just show you how SO01 and work items look like in the inbox. Again, depending on the work item type, some of these work items are displayed on user's work list. Other work items, on the other hand, are only used and processed internally. These are the background tasks. And the work items are displayed in the integrated inbox of their selected agent and can be reversed and executed from there. Take a little time. Let's see if we have anything here. Okay, so these are the work items. Okay, this is our inbox. You can see here we have these workflows. If this is not something that I have created, probably this person was trying to practice a workflow and they've created something which is sent to everyone. So if you were to, so if you were to see, this is actually a particular task which is which has been sent to all possible agents, and thus it is available in my inbox. Now you have this option either to to review the material, or yes, no, cancel. Okay, this is like a user decision. So if you were to see this, okay, cancel and keep it in inbox. So if you were to see, this is not the same thing, but I mean, it's not the same workflow, but I can just try and show you how to relate it. So if you were to see this particular step, which is to display the item, is this. Okay, this is where if I click on this, this is the work item where I click, I'm displaying that particular item, and then this is the user decision that follows. Okay, so if you were to see here, we have a user decision. Okay, accept or reject. Similarly, you want to view it, or I mean, in this case it is, yeah, I think this is the one. No, not this one. So it's either yes or no. Okay, any queries here? No, fine. Fine. Now work items. Then there are work item types. There are dialog work items, missed deadline work items, workflow items. I mean workflow work items, background work items, and wait step work items. Dialog, of course, if you want to pop up some particular, I mean display some particular screen or something like that, then that is when you'll use this. I mean runtime display of a single step task with a user dialog. Okay, missed deadline, a message recipient for the missed deadline is uh, informed. Then for workflow item, yeah, okay, this is my actual inbox. Wait. Workflow item, it's runtime representation of multi-step task. And then if you were to see background, it's runtime display for a task executed in the background. And wait step for work item is like you runtime display for a wait step in the workflow definition. Uh, so Okay. Now work item text, title of the work item in the business workplace. First create the work item text and position the cursor to include the variable. Choose the insert variable icon under the work item text. Now what is work item text? Sorry. Now this is your work item text. Okay. So when I create the no more for this, I think yeah, this will be a better one. Display item. For display item, yeah. So when you'll be able to see this particular item in the inbox, okay, we'll go to this one. This will be your work item text. Review the material. This has been used as a variable here, and I mean that is how it has been created. We'll see this how to add a work item text and how it will be displayed. If you want to add some parameters here, how to add them in the workflow, we'll be looking into that tomorrow. Okay, because we've got to complete at least the theoretical part today. Okay. Process, for example, process request form ampersand, this will be the particular parameter that you will be adding to the work item text. So when you will be able to see this particular work item in your inbox, it will appear as process request from and whatever is the person's name who has created that particular work object. Okay. Now we come to the business object definition and implementation. Now where is business object in all this? You see this task here, double click it. Inside we have the business object. Now this is the object that we use and this is the method. Okay, if we were to click on that, it'll take you to the business object. In that you have this the different options, like there's this interface, key fields, attributes, methods and events. We'll see each of them. Okay. SAP Business Workflow has been developed on a object-oriented Okay, SAP Business Workflow has been developed on an object-oriented basis. The business object type are identified and described with their object method in the business object repository of R3 system. Generally, one object is created in the system and then processed in a workflow over several steps by various employees. Query? No, I won't be covering class-based workflow. No, because I mean, otherwise we won't be. I mean, this workflow cannot be covered within 4 hours. It needs a lot more time than just 4 hours. Okay, next, object type and objects. Okay, workflow deals with object types and definitions of data. Basically, I'll just show you this particular. Wait, no. So every object type has these key fields, attributes, methods, events. Okay, so all fields and other things, I mean the data part will come here and all the processing part will come here. Okay, so if you were to see, this is the interface. This is like the standard SAP interface for a business object. Key fields for this particular parameter, for this particular business object, we have created a key field called refner, which is the reference number. Okay, so if I was to click on this, you can see that this is the key field. If you were to click on that, you can see the different attributes here. I mean the reference table that has been used, the name, the description, and this is like the name, this is the particular object type that is being used. Okay, so basically that is the same name. This is the key field for this particular object. Key field would be something that will be available based, I mean, this is like the this will be available throughout the object, and this is like the key field which is going to identify your object. Okay. Then comes the interface. Okay, interfaces are the combination of attributes, method, and event to be used in common among multiple object types. The purpose of interfaces is to define common functionality in one object type and to assign that common functionality via an interface to multiple object types across the business object repository. This avoids redundancy of data and functional definitions. Each new object type automatically receives the interface IF SAP, the SAP standard interface. SAP standard interface provides each object type with the following: method display, method existence check, and attribute object types. See, so this is what that interface is going to provide us with. Okay. And next, let's go to the key field. Okay, we just discussed the key field. Key field are designed to uniquely identify the object type. If the key field has a data type reference of a dictionary field, the runtime system will look to that table field and retrieve the value of the key when processing the object. When the key field is created, ABAP program code is generated automatically when the object type is generated. Okay, this will be generated automatically in the code. Then we have attributes. Okay, for this particular one, if you were to see, I don't think we have any particular attributes defined here. Then yeah, this is the object type, and this is the existence check and display. Okay, this is what was discussed here. Right. Then these are the methods. Then methods are the ones which will be actually used in your tasks. And then there are events. Events is eventually whatever the workflow is going to get triggered. I mean, whatever is going to trigger the workflow. I mean, those events are defined here. Now these events will also have their own interface parameters. Okay, so this is the parameter that we are using in this particular event. There can be multiple also. So when this particular event is triggered, we'll have to provide some sort of a value. I mean, if you want to send certain values to this particular workflow when the event is triggered, like for example, you'll need to provide some sort of a reference as what is the let's say if it's the leave application. You will need the workflow to know what is the employee name who is triggering the leave. Okay, so based on the employee, at least the employee ID will be required. So those are the parameters. So that is one of the parameters that you'll have to send to the workflow. So for example, here we are using this particular parameter has the approver who's actually approving it, and certain other data that is required, like the initiator and the second approver. So next, key fields. Then we come to the attributes. Okay, we don't have any attribute in this particular workflow, in this particular object, but then it can be something like attributes which are required. It will have dictionary references. Is this image clear? No, I don't think so. नहीं है. Okay. Okay. Well, I'll just try to explain this to you. I mean, this is like the attribute name, the object type, the release, and the status if it is implemented, implemented, modeled, or released. Okay. So in this particular case, it is implemented. Then the name is net value, description, net value of the order in document currency. Now the source is it's a virtual one or a database field, attribute properties. It can be multi-line, mandatory, in instance, independent, uh, data type, reference, data. I mean the table name is here and the field name. We'll be seeing how we are going to create all of these tomorrow when we actually create the a sample workflow. Okay. So similarly, if you were to like any of the parameters, let's say if you're, it's kind of similar to this, like you have a particular parameter and you have different types, like it can be import parameter, export parameter, multi-line, mandatory, dictionary reference, or an object type. These are the parameters that are associated with uh, some methods, some of these methods. We'll come to that. Uh, Methods. Now methods, hmm, methods incorporated the permitted function available for the object. Of course, methods have importing and exporting parameters as well as exceptions, and method can be created using the following: function, module, API, dialog, report, others. Okay. So basically all you need to do, I mean, you can come here, right click, and create the, I mean, you can click it, create it from here as well. You just create, and then it will ask you with a function module as template, no. And then it will ask you the create method. We'll be seeing this tomorrow. Then there are this dialog, synchronous, dialog, of course. I mean, we'll discuss these parameters when we are actually creating it. Methods, import parameter, import parameters, method, result, export parameters, exceptions. Like this is quite self-explanatory. It can be a dialogue one or a background one. It can be synchronous, asynchronous. Execution of the method is via a work item in a user's integrated inbox or in background by the workflow runtime system. Background methods cannot use messages or exceptions because they cannot be processed by the background system and will result in the termination of the program. Simple. Background ones, you need to treat them differently from the dialogue ones. Similarly, synchronous and asynchronous, synchronous methods finish executing before handing control back to the calling system, calling program. These type of method can return export parameters, results, and exceptions. Asynchronous method do not return control to the calling program immediately. Once executed, they depend upon events to communicate the result of the method back to the calling programs. Asynchronous object methods cannot have results, export parameters, or exceptions. I think this is clear. Result, synchronous method may return an export parameter as a result. A result can be defined like a data as a dictionary field or an object type. Instance independence indicates whether the object reference is passed to the method by binding at the time of execution. Method that generate the and return an object reference such as create, or methods that generate a report listing should be instance independent. Is this clear? Not clear. Okay. So basically, you understood this. Like when it is that certain cases, the object. I mean, how can I show you this instance independence? Okay, method. Suppose you need to pass certain value. I mean, suppose you just need to create display a report. Suppose you just have a particular step where you just need to show some sort of list and come back. So it can be instance independent because you need not return any parameter to that particular method, to the calling program, right? See, there are different types of tasks or requirements when you are executing a workflow. Suppose you want a particular task to be performed, and after that you want to provide like, okay, this was the outcome of the task, and this is the normal scenario. But there are certain tasks which need not have some sort of a return parameter where you just display something and that is the end of it. You don't have to have any kind of a return parameter to this particular to the particular returning to the particular calling task. Wait, I'll just show you. Maybe this can help you understand it. Okay, now see, this is a step which is supposed to delete a document. I want to be sure that the document was deleted before, so this particular step is going to return a particular value to the workflow saying that yes, it was deleted. Suppose there was this particular task. I don't know what this task is, but it is irrelevant. I mean, I won't say irrelevant. It is just supposed to display something. You don't need to know if it was if the if there's no execution or there's no condition or there's no particular step. It's just display the result and come back. You need not have any return kind of a thing. It's like one way. Yeah, if you can say it, look at it that way also. So those such tasks you can such methods you can define them as instance independent. Okay. Maybe tomorrow when we actually create it, you'll be able to understand it. Okay, now this is okay. Import export parameters. The method parameter container contains reference to all import, export and result parameters which need to be exchanged back and forth between the calling program and the method. Like for for example, I'm going back to this particular see, this is the task. Okay, this task has to communicate with this business method, right? Whatever data was triggered during the event, it has to flow to the workflow. From the workflow, it has to flow to the task. From the task, it has to flow to the business object. Okay, so when this is happening, I mean, to do that, we need to do this communication, we use containers. Okay, we'll just go through this slide. The method parameter container contains reference to all import, export and result parameters which need to be exchanged back and forth between the calling program, single step task and the method. Binding is necessary between the single step task and method parameter container to accomplish the data transfer. Okay, input parameters are those values which are necessary to execute the method. Input parameters are retrieved from the container using the macro instruction. These are the macro instructions. I'll show you tomorrow how we'll be using it, or else I'll just show you how it is used in the step. So if you were to see, this does not have a good binding. Okay, let's see this. Now this is the workflow. Okay, this workflow has some sort of a binding with this task. This is what a binding looks like. Okay, this binding is going to tell what data is going to flow from the workflow to the task. Okay, so you can see this is the parameter which is from the workflow going to the task, and from the, if you were to see, this is binding workflow to display invoice details, that is the task. Okay, and this is the parameters which is going to flow from the task to the workflow, like a return parameter. This is going from here to there, and this is coming from the task back to the workflow. Similarly, data transfer has to happen between the task and the object method. So if you were to see this, so this particular this is the binding. This is where you create the binding, that you define that this is the parameter which is to be linked to this particular parameter in the method, and from the method this is the response that is to be sent to this particular parameter in the task. Okay, and once this binding is defined, it's not over yet. After this particular binding is defined, you go here and okay, you come here and after all this, yeah, you need to get these parameters. This is how these are the macros that you need to use to fetch these elements from the container. This is the container, the parameter name, into the particular variable that you need it in. Okay, is this clear? Okay. So once you do it, we'll create it tomorrow. You will be able to understand this. Then of course export parameters, like we use get element to fetch a single line object, and get table to fetch multi-line object. Okay. Similarly, if you want to return a value, just a second, give me, I need to mute. Sorry, there was a call from home. Okay. Yeah, similarly, just as we use get table and get element to fetch the values, to return the values we use set element and set table. Okay. To create container basic, we'll come to the container part also. Let's go to, let's cover the I think container. Okay, so like we'll discuss containers first. Because these are things we can cover later also, because as once you start creating, we'll discuss this, because we have a little limited time. I'll explain containers to you. Okay, we have different types of containers. Okay, workflow container, task container, event container, role container, method container. Now, where can you see all these containers? There are different containers at different levels. let's go to the workflow. Let's start with the workflow. So if you were to see here, we have this option workflow container. Now these are the parameters which certain, some of them are predefined ones, and these are the ones which we have created. Okay, what do you understand by a container? A container is something where you've put all your variables. Does that explain it to you? Like your interface parameters for let's think of an for of a FM, you know, all the parameters that you define. Like for, if you were to see this one, there are two arrows on both sides, so it's like an import export kind of a parameter. Okay, if you were to see this attribute, the attributes of this particular one, it's got a data type as char1. You can have an object type or dictionary reference. It's got properties like import, export. It can be mandatory or multi-line. You can set certain initial values to it. Okay. So basically container would be like, think of it as somewhere where all your variables interface is. So this is your workflow container. Okay, this is the first type of container that we've seen. These are certain predefined ones. Now after this container, we go to the container of the task, because we need to have some sort of data to be flowing from here to the task. So if we go to the task, here we have the task container. So in this case, we have this object, and these are certain fields. These are the standard ones which are already present, and this is the object type. It is taking from the business object, and these are the ones that we have defined. Okay, if you were to see, this is only an import parameter. Similarly, like properties, you can have mandatory, export, multi-line, but this one is an import one because there's only one arrow on one side. Okay, then we have this auto post, which is import export again. So this is the container of the task. Next we go to the container of the sorry yeah, this is the, we'll go to the container of the method. Now if we were to go, so these are the parameters. So this actually becomes the container of the this particular method. Okay, then we have role and we have method. Okay, uh, for method I'll just show you, sorry, not method, rule, event and rule. So event also we have these parameters become its container, and more for rule. See, even for a rule you will need certain parameters to be from the workflow, have to be passed to the rule, so that we can determine who is going to perform what task. So if you were to see the binding of this particular rule here, again, I mean, we have binding of workflow and rule. So again, if you were to go to that rule, you can see you'll have the container of that rule also. Okay, so I hope this explains the container concept. Do you still have any doubt related to what containers are? You can think of containers as your interface between the workflow, for the workflow task, rule, event, method. Okay, so looks like this is clear. So we will okay, then We just saw these different ones. Container again. This is the same thing that we've just discussed. Binding, of course, you need to is the art of pouring selected container elements from one container into another. So basically, from the workflow, you'll need. So now is this clear to you that we have a workflow. Workflow will have certain tasks. Tasks will have business objects assigned to it. So when you have certain when an event is triggered, it will trigger the workflow. Event will pass certain values to the workflow. From the workflow, it has to go to the task. From the task, eventually it has to go to the business object. So whatever processing has to be done is actually executed by the business object. Okay. Uh, so so I hope this is quite clear with you. Whew. So this is what was explained just now. Like the event that I don't think I'll repeat this now. Uh, then these are some standard container elements. Work item ID at runtime. The task container element work object ID contains the reference to the object which is processed in the object method. The result, if customer task standard refers to a synchronous object method, the result of the method is available in the element of the task container. And event object is this reference refers to the object initiating the event, allows you to access the attributes of these object. Wait, I'll just show you what they look like. See fix no go. Yeah, okay. Here we have them. And then workflow initiator is there, priority is there, work item is there. You'll also have the work item ID. I mean, every time the workflow is triggered, you'll also have the work item ID available with you so that it's easier to look for the workflow. Especially for troubleshooting, it is very important that you know. I mean, it's easier to look for the workflow if you already have the workflow ID present. So that's one thing. Uh, then how we are actually going to trigger the workflow. We'll be going to that part. I mean, how we have these different macros that we use. We'll just this we'll be covering tomorrow. Okay. I suppose by now it is quite clear what an event is for everyone, because we've been discussing event triggering, event for quite some time. An event describes a possible status change for an object in the SAP system. Something like invoice created, PO created, PO changed, invoice changed. You know, if there's some change happened, then another workflow who's supposed to scrutinize if this change was valid or not, something of that sort. Uh, Yeah, before an event can be used in a workflow, it must be defined in the business object repository for the object type. An event must be triggered explicitly. The application itself can be the triggering event, the triggering agent. Okay, like the application like creating PO can itself be a triggering agent for it. Uh, Then there are different types of event creation, something like change document, status management, message control, specific HR tables, ABAP code, and user exit. Many a times we use ABAP. Mostly when it comes to custom workflow, we have to trigger it explicitly through the ABAP code. So tomorrow when we'll be checking this, we'll be looking into this particular option. Uh, then there is event linkages. Let's see how much time we still have. We have some time. Okay. Oh, I think we did just missed a few slides earlier before the containers. I think we missed a few. We'll just go through this as well because somehow you'll need to understand this as well. Maybe not the exceptions, but yeah. Okay. Events describes the change in the status of an object. Workflow are usually started using events. Again, repeating it. Any object type that is created, okay, it has to be modeled, implemented, released, and once you no longer required it, or if that functionality is replaced by something, you turn it to obsolete. Okay, I'll just show you what we've just discussed. You go to a particular business object, you can see this tick here, okay? So right now if you were to see, you can change its release status. Either it can be object type can be modeled. So when you start creating, you start with the model. Once you finish that, you move it, then you implement it. Once your implementation is complete, you move it to release. Released is, it can be used. You won't be able to use it before if you don't change the status to release. Okay, you won't be able to use the object type. Same goes with the components of that particular object type. So this particular tick specifies that it has been released. If you were to see the status, you can see it's been released. Okay, and these are standard ones. So if you were to see, they are not related to actually our object. These are the SAP standard ones which we get. Okay, here is the object type is this. Okay, so this is the difference. This one won't be available, but whatever we'll be creating tomorrow, it will be available in the SIL system tomorrow. Okay, and I'll try to create a similar workflow that I have here for you to refer on the SIL side as well, so that when you're doing your assignment, you'll have it as a ready reference. Okay. Actually, what I'm showing you right now, because there's no examples I could identify in SIL, I have just used whatever we are actually working on right now in our project. Okay, once this is done, of course, then there are object types. Now there are a lot of standard objects as well that we can use. Okay, now for example, there are certain, if you were to see object types, we did not go to okay, objects. So BKPF, let's go to this. So this is a standard object which is available in the system. It has got all these different methods and everything created for it. It has a lot of the basic key element for the key fields will be the company code, because everything related to an invoice, the key fields are company code, document number, and fiscal year. So these three happen to be the key fields there. Interface, now it has the standard SAP interface, and these are the other interfaces that are available with this particular object. Suppose you want, there are a few functionalities available here. Okay, you have these functionalities and you want to have them present in your Z object, but you don't want to create them all over again. You can use the same business object and extend it to your own Z business type. Okay, so that is when you create a subtype of your I mean, you delegate whatever is present from, let's say in this case it is KNA1, the business. If you have to see this particular here, what you are doing is you are using the KNA one's methods and everything. You are copying. I won't say it's copying. It's like you're delegating it to ZKNA1. Okay, so all these objects present here can be extended to your Z type, and then you can use all these methods in your code, and along with whatever additional functionality you want to add to your business object. Okay, uh, is that clear? So now, so I don't think I'll be explaining this because it's like repeating it. Uh, this we've completed containers, right? Next, we've almost covered most of it. Now we'll just go through the event linkages and everything. But before that, yes, it can be enhanced as per requirement. You'll be creating a subtype for it. Okay, so of course we have a few minutes. So far we've just been through most of the basic things that we need to be aware of. I just quickly want to go through the assignment that I have provided to you. Okay, before we conclude for today, then the remaining, I mean, if we have still have time, then we'll just go through the events quickly. Uh, RFD नहीं. RFD में से. Okay, so this is the requirement document I have sent to you. This is this is the sample workflow that you will be creating. Today I just want you to go through all the basic transactions that we have discussed so far, uh, so that you will be in a better position to understand the actual creation of everything. Again, I'll be discussing the same things tomorrow, but we'll be actually creating the workflow. Okay, next what we have is, I mean, I'll just go through this requirement. You'll have something like an employee master, and we're trying to create a leave management, not exactly leave management, but leave approval system kind of a thing. So once the idea is, once the employee creates a leave, it goes to I mean, the basic status of that particular leave is, that particular application is to 02. 02 is to say that the leave has been applied. Okay, then it'll next is the manager, who's, I mean, this particular leave application has to go to the manager. The manager can do the following. Okay, he can approve it, reject it, hold it, or forward it to someone else. Okay, these are some, this is where you'll need to use a fork. After that, I mean, if it is rejected, update it with rejection status 5. If it is approved, update it with status 04. If it requires a senior manager approval, yes, it will update status 3, and this loop will go back here. If no, it will I mean, if it does not require this thing, so it will be the status will be changed to approved, and then the workflow will end. Okay. Suppose the manager decides to hold the workflow, there'll be a deadline monitoring for 2 days, and after 2 days, the status will be updated to 7, and I mean, no, sorry, if it is hold, the status uh, will be updated to 7, and then it will keep checking if there's a the deadline of 2 days uh, has been reached or not. If it is yes, it'll go here. You'll have to forward it. It'll go to forward again and forward it to some other approver. Okay. And if it is forwarded, it'll again go to the same a new manager screen, or the new person who is approving it. So this is the workflow you have to do as a part of your assignment. We'll be seeing a part of this scenario tomorrow, at least the approve reject part, okay, for tomorrow. And then we'll also discuss deadline monitoring tomorrow again, because you'll need it for to complete your assignment. Okay. I'll be providing you with about 1 week's time to complete the assignment. I think that should be 1 week is sufficient, right? Or you need more time? So because from what I understand, most of you are working on projects. So this will be like an additional work that you have to do. So maybe by next weekend or by the coming, let's see. Yes, you'll have to create custom business object, because basically that is the idea, that you have to have a hands-off on-off everything. So you'll be creating the business object, you'll be creating a custom workflow. You'll have to be creating your own tasks, and some maybe a table to have the employee reference and everything. So maybe some dictionary object also. And some sort of a screen where you will be actually applying the leave and triggering the workflow. Okay. So that is what you'll have to do. If you were to go through that RFD document, it's much in details as to what needs to be done. Okay. You can go through it. I am not sure if you've actually gone through it. But I'll be I just need to know by when you will be able to complete it. So that we have an agreed date. So tomorrow is Friday. I was thinking of having the submission date as 26th. 26th, okay? 1 week. Tell me, based on your current project requirement, please tell me, because it'll be better if it comes from you. Otherwise, it'll be like me imposing something. Should I start unmuting you? Can I not unmute everyone at the same time? Okay, you would want to propose a date tomorrow. Okay. Okay, let's come up with the date tomorrow after you actually see how it is done. So I'll try to send this document over to all of you today. Okay. Anyone who's not in the email sent by Saurabh, I mean the meeting request sent by Saurabh, are you in this call? Because I just need to know uh, who all should I be sending the this thing to? Or maybe you could coordinate with others, whoever's in the call, and I'll send this particular PPT as of now. so that if you want to go through the different T codes and everything. Okay, fine. Nobody wants to comment on it. So fine. Okay, so we'll connect tomorrow again. We'll be look. Is there anything specific that you want to? Wait. No, the RFD I have already sent it over in the meeting request, and uh, I'm talking about this PPT that we've gone through today. So maybe I can forward it to you so that you could. Should I just wait? That'll be easier. Whoever's in this particular training today will receive it. ट्यूटोरियल वाला है क्या? हाँ. I'll just paste it here now. Not attaching it. Not getting attached. Yeah, I'll do that. I'll send it over the email only, because and if anybody who's not in that email list and is present in the call can take it from others. Okay, you can coordinate and take it from others. Okay, then let's conclude the call for today. We'll connect tomorrow again. We'll be checking the demo of how actually we'll be going and doing how we can actually create the workflow. If there's something else that you want me to cover, uh, see, because we cannot cover everything related to workflow tomorrow itself. So, uh, so right. So just let me know if you have any doubts or something. You can ping me or drop an email. Okay? Yeah. Thank you.